Greg Otten here with MaritimeGardening.com. Today I'm out in the woods. This is the forest behind my house. It's eventually going to be developed into a subdivision, which is a bit sad, but for now, and at least the near future, it's just going to stay like this, just a wild forest. And if you go this way, it's just wilderness for miles and miles. In fact, it becomes a protected wilderness area. Less than a kilometer that way becomes a protected wilderness area. Anyway, one of the benefits of having an area like this behind you, if you own the land, or if it's like this and it's going to be developed, is that you can harvest some resources from it to use in your garden. And today I'm going to get stakes that I can use in my garden. There's all kinds of, especially in areas like this, it's a little bit open. It's open here because they drove some sort of machine through here 10 years ago and mowed it down a little bit. I assume this is where there's going to be a street here, and there's another straight clearing like this parallel just over this way a little bit, which I assume is also going to be the other side of the road. Right, they're eventually going to turn this into a big long street. There's going to be houses over here and houses over there and blah 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 blah. But since they've done that, all these young alder saplings, in fact this walking stick is from an alder, have grown. So really you can use anything for a stake in a garden, but those things that they sell in garden centers and dollar stores, pieces of bamboo, it seems insane to me to buy something that came from the other side of the planet to use in a garden when there's sticks everywhere. And any old stick will do. I mean, I'm going to get some alder today, but you can use spruce, you can use really anything as long as you're not impacting the environment in a negative way. And in fact, if that's really a concern for you, you can't get much better an option than alder, because you cut an alder off at the bottom, you're going to get two alders grow up where it was, right? You're really not killing the tree, you're not killing the roots. It's just that sort of a tree, and when you cut it down, it just grows back. And you can do that practically indefinitely. And there's actually ancient practices of forestry that use that technique. I think it's called coppicing, where you cut a deciduous tree, a leaf tree, not a needle tree, off at the ground, and it comes back. Anyway, I'm just assuaging. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, you're cutting trees! The trees!" It's a little bit different when you're in a wilderness area, and you know what you're doing, and B, when you're in an area that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, this is all going to be destroyed, and it's not even going to be trees, it's going to be pavement. So I'm not going to really agonize over what I'm doing here too much. I agonize over the fact that it's going to become pavement, but all I'm doing here is just, taking a little bit of what the forest gives me, and I'm taking it in a way that's not going to really affect anything. So I've got, let me get rid of this here. I don't want to lose that, but got a little folding saw just out for a nice stroll in the afternoon. I'm going to cut some sticks to use as stakes in my garden for the tomatoes and squash and all these things I like to grow vertically. So stay with me here and I'll show you how I go about doing that. Alright, so we've got a nice little grove of trees here. I really think these should be about 6 or 7 feet long is a good length to work with. You can cut them shorter if you need them shorter, but you certainly can't make them any longer if they're too short. Got a few of these. Pick the straight one. Doesn't take long. Actually, I thought these were alders, but this is actually a birch tree. So this here is a birch tree that fell down. Now these are like a new tree that's growing out of the dead fallen tree, because this tree's totally dead. That's interesting. It must have got mowed over by the tracks of the big machine. Anyway, this sort of operation probably be a little easier with an axe, but I I just didn't feel like bringing that in with me today. But this handsaw is pretty handy, this sort of thing. Anyway, you get the idea. That's close to 6 feet. I'm 6'4", so that's pretty close. So I'm just going to cut a bunch of these, and I'll get back with you in a minute. You can also use a knife if you've got a good sharp knife. It can be quicker that way, depending on your skill level and how comfortable you are with knives. A little heavier knife would probably be better for this, but this is a very short knife, 3.5-inch blade, perfectly fine. Just cutting everything rough right here. I'll clean everything up when I get back home. In the comfort of my garage on some rainy day. It's a nice day today, so it's a good day to be outside doing this stuff. It's the sort of thing I like to do in the winter. Gets me out in the fresh air and out of the house. Start to feel cooped up if I'm indoors for too long. I like to work with my hands and get a little fresh air and exercise. Okay, let's cut a few more of these. I'm going to kill the camera now. So just down this way a bit, I found a whole bunch of maple. These are actually maple, but again, they're in this road area that's all going to be cut down anyway. And even if it's never cut down, because I know there's going to be people watching this saying, "Oh my goodness, you cut down a tree." I didn't kill the tree. All these young saplings I've got here are from maple trees that were already cut down. The tree was cut down. The roots survived, and 10 of these things grew out of it. And each of those I took maybe 3 or 4 or 5. All of those couldn't grow that close to one another anyway. If you spend a lot of time in the woods, trees that grow really close to each other, certain ones of those trees just die anyway. So, you know, it's really not that big a deal to just, if you understand that process, if you're taking a couple for your own uses, it's really not going to hurt anything. At least that's my opinion on the matter. And to speak to another issue, you know, people are going to be looking saying, "Hey, that's not straight," right? But you know, I'm not building the Sistine Chapel here. It doesn't have to be straight. It has to be strong enough to hold up a tomato, or whatever, right? The straighter ones I'll use for things where strength is needed, and the crooked ones I'll use for lighter things that aren't very heavy, or, you know, like tomato plant. On top of that, on many of these stakes there's going to be little nubs hanging off and stuff like that. They're not going to be perfectly smooth, and like there, right? I'm just going to leave that like that. And the reason is that that's good for tying things around, right? All these little bumps and imperfections, from a trellising point of view, for staking things in a garden, these imperfections are actually perfect, right? Because you want something to hook your rope on, or to just, in some cases you can literally just put the branch, you know, if you've got something you want to, a branch of a vine of a plant you want to hold up, you can just, you know, put it in one of those, the crook, right, and it'll just hold. So you don't always want to, I mean, if it's some little nothing piece, sure, but if it's a bit of a nub that's got a bit of strength to it, you probably want to keep that on there. Same with a Y like that. It can be, there's very many uses for a Y. Anyway, I'm just going to process the rest of this. For those that are asking, this is a Silky Pocket Boy. I have no contract or arrangement with Silky. They don't give me any money. I just bought this because I heard they were good saws, and in fact they are good saws. The only saws I buy now that are new are Silky saws. They cut on the pull, not on the push. And that might seem odd to some people, but once you get used to it, I would say you get more power and control as a result of that configuration. I prefer it. I find it a lot easier to use. All I'm taking off here are the larger branches here. I'm going to clean this up a bit with my knife in a minute. Taking some crude measurements here. Even this can be used, I suppose. That's a bit short. Get that guy. This one's okay. I'm just cutting off the thicker things that I can't really cut with my knife. Alright, that took about 6 minutes. Now I'm just going to clean these up a little bit with my knife. All the little pieces. I'm not going to bother taking the bark off. I'll take the bark off the birch branches later, because birch bark will rot the inside of a tree out faster than you'd believe. But for the maple, that won't be a problem, so it's not worth doing. Remember, all this stuff is temporary, right? None of it's going to last. It's all outside all year long. So you don't have to treat it like it's, you know, it's a useful resource, but you don't have to treat it like it's precious. It's all going to rot. Eventually all this stuff's going to find its way into a campfire or a hugelkultur bed. So, you know, for me, you know, it's about ensuring you've got a nice garden, and I'm just cutting down the work I would have to do in the spring or next summer. I don't want to be out here in the middle of the summer looking for sticks and stuff. There's mosquitoes and flies, and it's just, I love the woods, really, I do. But in the summer, it's unbelievable. Once you get into mid-June, the woods become a really difficult place to be. At least around here, where there's swamps and there's just the mosquitoes and the black flies and the horse flies, all those things, and ticks, all that stuff. I really, the wild forest, I sort of stay out of it from about the middle of June onwards. Then just cutting off all the little tiny things, right? They're no use. There's that, and there. Done. Easy, easy peasy. So just an idea of one thing you can do, one sort of activity you can do in the winter when nothing's growing to prepare for your garden next year, to keep your head in the gardening game, to get outside, enjoy the fresh air and the, I guess you wouldn't call this sun, the overcast sun or whatever it is, but it's a beautiful day. There's no, I mean, it's probably around -9 right now, or -8 Celsius. If you're dressed properly and you're busy doing stuff and you're active and you're in reasonably good health, it's for me, actually, I find it really good for my health to get outside and get some real fresh air as opposed to being cooped up indoors. It's good for your body, it's good for your mind. So I hope you found this content useful. If you've got access to land where you can harvest the resources without breaking any laws, I'd say get out there and do it. Learn about the trees in your area, learn about the different varieties, learn about the different kinds of materials that you have at your disposal. You don't have to use what I'm using birch and maple. You can use anything that's stiff and reasonably straight. Anything will do, right? It doesn't have to be anything in particular. As long as you're allowed to take it, I would use it. So, I hope that was helpful. Till next time, get out there, get at it, and have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.